call this meeting of the Fayette County Area Planning Commission to order. Do we know if Bev's coming or?
Okay, I do not know if Bev is or not. She's usually pretty good about letting me know. So, and I guess in that case, I will have to function as the replacement secretary.
Yeah, do you have
Just
a?
check those knees out, Bill.
Huh?
That's your secretary.
Okay, all right, is the, let's go with, roll call, please.
Yeah, roll call.
Okay, Bill Mackey, not present. Okay,
Dale.
okay, Dale Munson, not present. Bob Stewart,
I'm here.
okay. Mr. Naylor,
Present.
okay, Mr. Price,
I'm here.
Miss,
I'm here.
okay, Bob's here. Brian's here. Mr. Rob's here.
Here.
Okay,
And Mr. Free is not.
okay, Bill McDaniel, present. Jeff Whaling, present. And Bev Rude, absent.
And Bill, the other Bill.
Oh, yeah, Bill Free, Mr. Free let me know that he was not going to be able to be here because of work. And I suspect that may be the same thing with Mr. Munson.
So,
Yeah, apparently they're kind of short-handed today.
2,
So we have 5 people, we have a quorum.
okay. You have sent to you the minutes from the March 23rd meeting. Oh, yep, thank you. Let's just all stand for the
yes.
pledge.
God, those communists.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll go through these minutes first. You have sent to, Bill sent everybody a copy of the March 23rd minutes.
Signing.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Been a motion made and seconded for approval. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Same? Motion carries.
Let me finish this right here, and I will get your signature, Mr. Naylor. Okay, there you go. Okay, great.
There's Val.
All right.
Okay. Now, before we proceed on with any further business, Brian Durham was our president. He has stepped down from the APC board,
Beverly Rude is present.
and so therefore the president's seat has been vacated. According to our rules of procedure in section 3.2.2B, the vice president shall perform all the duties as delegated in the case of the absence or incapacity of the president on the approval by the majority of the APC. So that therefore, as I read that, in order for the vice president to continue, it'll have to be a vote by the APC.
Yes. Okay, now I do have a question then for Mr. Westling, because of the, we only had, the majority would also include Mr. Naylor. Would that then be appropriate then, Mr. Naylor voting yes on this? Okay, good. I just wanted to verify.
So,
I would make that motion and make you president.
is the motion made? Is there a second? Motion made and seconded for me to carry out the duties of president for the remainder of the year then. Is there any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carries. So that leaves us the vice president's seat vacant.
I would like to make a motion to have Darren Price sit in as vice president. Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded that we nominate Darren Price for that position as vice president. for the remainder of the 23 year. Are there any other nominations from the floor? I would entertain a motion to close nominations.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded to close nominations. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carries. Nominations are closed. We'll now vote on the motion to elect Darren as vice president. All in favor,
Aye.
signify by saying aye. All opposed, the same. Motion carries. Congratulations. I'm out. Okay, we'll move on down the agenda then. We've got the minutes. The discussion on the non-conforming lots. Did everybody receive a copy of that as
Yes.
written? Any questions or comments? Does that pretty well cover what we discussed in the March meeting?
Yeah, and to make it easier, that's why I don't have it in the ordinance language yet. So I want each clause completely separate.
Okay. So, Jeff, did you get a chance to look at this?
Yeah,
Does that work for what we were wanting to do
I think so.
without allowing somebody to make a non-conforming lot?
Yeah.
Intentionally.
And there's a phone call that Gail dealt with. A gentleman asked about a property. So his question was, when are they going to pass that ordinance? Because he has a property, he wants to create 2 non-conforming parcels. So it's a very, very good thing. So the question I have is, do we use it as the date of this ordinance, or do we go back and then as of the adoption of the zoning code itself? Because that's the date we have for non-conforming parcels as is.
This non-conforming parcels, is this square footage for lots to build on you're talking about?
Yeah, those are the ones that aren't large enough to build on.
Have we done anything that I brought up the last time I was here about acreage that only has maybe 20 or 30 foot frontage that they need to have it? I believe our code says 65 or 70. And all throughout this county, farmers have had easements of 20 and 30 feet. And that's plenty enough to access acreage.
Yeah, well, that in itself is that, it's the, I think that belongs in another location as
Yeah.
far as the yard exceptions, typically where that's at. So we would then have, that would be within that provision right there of say in A1 and A2 district. For example, agricultural properties is that then the minimum drive width is X.
You know, there was a family that bought, I think, 40 acres, but they only had 25 feet
Yeah.
easement to it, and they had to get spared. I said, why? I mean, it's plenty wide enough to drive a car across
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, the one that we get into is that it's the, people don't really understand the difference between easement and then actual access, the road frontage. So the drive itself. Now, what I always have to tell people is that, okay, if an easement is already in place, you can, and we have done that, because the parcel preceded the adoption of the zoning code, and there was an actual legal easement to get back there at that time. So that, it's been like, yes, that is actually considered a buildable lot under the zoning code. The other one that you get is then you have people who have split parcels, but they were done after 1993, so they're actually basically an illegal split. It was actually an illegal non-conforming. So but yeah, I do agree with that, because we have had to do that multiple times on agricultural properties. Yeah,
As long as it's got vehicular access, I think that would be,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and so, taking the minimum width, and I forget who I was speaking with, was it you after the last meeting about, I had spoken about that, where you said probably 25 is probably good?
Yeah, I think we were,
Yeah,
we were talking about it for the CAFO
yeah,
ordinance,
yeah,
lowering it.
yeah. So and, okay, that'll be, okay. Okay.
Okay,
Drive.
so,
Mr. President, can we act on this without having a public hearing?
No, we
No.
cannot.
Okay, I was wondering why we were.
No, this is strictly for discussion. So if you had any questions for me, if something still doesn't make sense, or if you think that I missed some of the points that
So the
the planning
date would
commission
be
made.
set till after the public hearing, huh?
The effective date,
Yeah,
right, yeah, yeah. But your question, back to your question,
okay, do we use the date of the adoption of this particular amendment to the zoning code? Or do we use the date of the adoption of the zoning code itself in 1993?
so why,
What's the benefit though of making?
what, yeah.
So we want
Right.
to have that 30-year gap almost of
Yeah.
of non.
Yeah, I know.
I would encourage you to use
Okay.
the date of this order, of this
Okay,
one, this
all right.
specific section.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I,
Yeah, well, it's just because, because there may be attempts then to, well, number one, they'll try to get it surveyed and then, but they won't have a chance to do it.
Most of them are.
Well, yeah, in any case, yeah, and because there's also the reference only within the city of Connersville also,
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's one thing that I think everybody wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that it remained specifically Connersville Corporation.
Yep, okay.
Okay. All right, is there any other questions or comments? Do we want to proceed with the June public hearing then, as this has been presented to us?
I mean, a motion we do.
I would second that.
Okay, oh, if I could see that a second, so I can explain something to everybody who may not have it in the, with the color. Now, the one I have with that, if some variation of the following is adopted, this clause, in my opinion, is redundant and may result in interpretation confusion. So that you who don't have, didn't print one in black and red, it begins at, after Health Department. And provided further that the width of the lot is measured at least 75% of the required by the terms of this chapter. I think that's because, I think that's something that should probably be deleted. Because it's made redundant and it's the, like I said, and it could cause confusion. Because.
Well,
because we-
that was one thing that I questioned as well, Bill,
Yeah.
to tell you the truth, because I think what we were talking about, as long as it met the setbacks.
Yep.
That
Exactly.
they could build
Yep.
1,080 square foot
Yep.
and still meet setbacks.
Yeah, yeah.
It wouldn't impede on the neighbors.
Yeah,
in any
and,
way.
yeah, and so then the discussion with the setbacks is why I went ahead and then that next to last clause of the, with the setbacks because of the width of some of those. Because, and the particular one I'm thinking of is because, as you know, within the zoning code, if it's a corner lot, everyone that has street frontage is considered a front yard, which is, it's, in a lot of places, kind of ridiculous. So, which is why I wrote that particular one of the front yard setbacks and then the rear yard setbacks to ensure that we don't have that. We aren't, let's say a corner lot, you might have the lot next door might be considered developable, but a corner lot, if we're basing that strictly on those setbacks.
Have we moved on minimum square footage allowable for housing?
No, that was, I believe, I wasn't here for those meetings, but if I,
I've been getting calls from builders who are wanting to build some 750, 70 square foot homes, and they want us to move on that. I said, well, when the time comes, we'll look at it, but
okay.
people are going to smaller homes now, especially young people. They can't afford 250,000, 300,000 for a home.
No, it's the, yeah, and it's kind of tied in with the, it's the, I think two things that's also tied in with are the issues related to the, accessory dwelling units, and then also the, then with the tiny homes. And, but with the one with the tiny homes actually is that, it's now under the residential, it defines them under the residential building codes.
Okay.
And it defines that they are, because it defines that they're still built under the same standards as a standard stick-built single-family dwelling as far as the materials. But, so that's, with that, but then the tiny home is down 400 square feet, for example.
Well, that's getting small.
It's getting real small.
That's a trailer.
Yeah, exactly, but I think it's the, but yeah, it's, So because I've had people, I regularly have people asking about smaller dwellings also. And it's like, I can't afford to build a 1,080 square foot house. So,
Okay, do we want that language removed from it then? The 75%? There in the first paragraph.
yeah, starting right after the health department, county health department. I think that's a good, we really should, I think y'all should have that removed.
I say yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, scratch that. There is a motion that we do proceed on with the June public hearing. Is there any other discussion in reference to the motion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carries. We'll proceed with a June public hearing on that. Then we have discussion on the parking amendment.
I don't know how much opportunity people had to actually look at and then do some comparisons with the numbers that we had for the lot size. I had a couple things come up and I wasn't able to start digging into the rest of the language with the off-street parking and loading. But but I don't know if you feel comfortable with something comparable to the ones, and then the discussion of the comments I have relative to the Hancock County versus Fayette County comparison.
Any comments,
So,
any input?
I thought we discussed this before. We haven't,
well,
Are you talking about homes or commercial properties?
just the entire parking section.
And we thought at the time that let them decide themselves how many parking places they need. Was that Gary's recommendation?
Yeah, well, it was we had a discussion last time also. One was the site engineer for the urgent care center. And there's some discussion with that we probably should have some numerical standard as a base. But since they're also being significantly reduced versus that, that's the,
Yeah, wasn't there supposed to be a minimum or something that we
Yeah.
talked about? And then if they wanted to come and
yes.
before us
yeah,
to
Set
Yeah.
the
be
minimum
less
to
to
the
do
maximum 100, I think you're in good shape.
Well, I'm just,
Yeah. But, so the members as a whole, feel comfortable with things more along the lines of the Hancock County versus what we have here in Fayette County. Because even at peak periods when I've driven by for example, the Dollar General on the east side, I've never seen the parking lot full. And I think we reduced it, by about 50% almost?
At least.
yeah.
Yeah. So and as I mentioned last meeting, I also know the planner from Hancock County. He's very experienced, he's also very diligent in the research that he puts into things. So,
If I may ask,
Yeah.
Jeff, where's Rush County's at? On their
I
parking?
never see parking over there. I never even see that being a thing, so I'm not honestly very too well versed on it.
Can they use common sense?
If it gets taken care of in the office, I mean, it never comes never comes for any type of variance. In about 8 years, I've not seen a single request for a variance.
I figured as much expansion as they've been doing the last 3 to 4 years with Mayor Pavey and whatnot, I figured something would have come up.
Nothing's come through. Now, in fairness, the city and the county have two separate planning offices.
Yes.
So anything in the city wouldn't come before what the board.
And
I
you're not
represent.
part of it?
I'm not, I don't represent the city
City.
on that component.
Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, I just
I
represent the
didn't
county. on
realize that.
component,
I thought
yeah.
you were.
So I've not had any, but of course in the county we don't have much.
Right, no, you wouldn't.
Okay, and the other one is it's and the one thing I think adding also is specifically the ones you flip to the last page is the stacking spaces for drive-through restaurants. And I haven't actually looked into the numbers and compared the numbers for stacking ordinances elsewhere. I think something does need to be added into the parking to deal with the stacking. I mean, I don't know if they've had issues or problems with backing up into the street down at the Dunkin' Donuts or not. And, yeah, Darren, you were at Kroger's, is it less of a problem than it used to be at the McDonald's?
They're not backed out into the street. The issue is entrance and exit
Yeah.
right there. But I've
Internal
not,
circulation.
I've not seen them have any issue.
Okay,
Like, they're not waiting out on 30th to come to pull in.
okay, all right. Yeah, because I know with the 2 lanes and also the rotating 90 degrees, the main axis it did provide for, definitely provided for more stacking spaces. And I think particularly what helped is having the dual lanes.
Yeah, you can probably, if somebody's at each one of the order boxes, you can easily stack 5-6 cars behind
Okay.
each line and still have clear access from the front entrance to the back end of the Kroger parking lot.
Yeah. Yeah, so I suspect that what probably needs to be looked at then, when it comes to dealing with it, this wouldn't be the time to do it, but when we have, get some type of formal adoption for a site plan review, is to then start taking into more serious direct consideration of, as you said, the internal, the internal movement on the lot. So I think,
Okay. So what's the board's thoughts on a public hearing to try to be ready for
okay.
the July meeting,
Can
the
see-
August meeting?
Conceivably July, but more likely, I think, with, depends upon the amount of work I still have to put into it, but August might be a little bit more likely. But what we can do is make a decision on that based on what type of progress I make for the June meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, let's try to make a hard date of August, and then if we can come to the June meeting and we're ready for July, then we can still get the advertising done.
Exactly.
But we don't have we decided yet what we're going to do as far as having the minimum parking standards?
Bill's working on the
When we
comparison.
have a
with-
public hearing, we need at least present something to.
Well, yeah.
And that's what he's working on.
That's where we'll be at. We
Okay.
will have that in place.
Okay.
So I was just
He's gonna
asking for some
continue.
guidance if there's a level of comfort with the numbers that are in there for something comparable to,
Okay.
Do we want
Hancock
him
County.
then to continue working on the Hancock plan,
I think so.
duplicating it then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think looking off that is definitely a good base.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we can adjust it from there.
okay, now, okay, I do have them one request that's coming up is dealing with the issues of, the temporary uses. Remember how when for Mrs. Eklund's grandmother, we had a discussion with members of the zoning board and the plan commission about how required a full-size mobile home was wrong in that setting. It frequently is, but because all someone needs is one person living in there. So as far as then, I think that looking at the temporary uses, but then reducing the size of those, because I had I actually had a lady come through, and they're getting ready to, she's already taken care of, one parent that has, I forget, is blind, the other one no, she's taking care of the one who has Alzheimer's, and then another one she's getting ready to take care of that's blind. And they want to look at then as a smaller structure, rather than having a full-size, mobile home for this, so.
But can't that be handled through a variance
That could be
with
handled.
the BZA?
Yeah, that could be handled through variance, but I'd also kind of like to at least start working on some language with this, because, we've had discussions about just accessory uses period, there's a lot of things that are just, probably need to be fixed.
Oh, I don't disagree, but I mean, until
Yeah,
we have time to get that on a
Yeah.
plate.
yeah, we can still do that as a variance. So that's what I did tell the lady at the same time, we can have the variance and then also the hearing for the variance, and then with the, then for the temporary use for the care of the family member, blood
Now,
member.
I would assume that this board would be able to send a recommendation to the
Well, we don't do that,
BZA
we don't do that anymore.
to consider what we're considering,
Yeah,
if we've got a square footage in mind.
I guess it could be helpful then with some type of policy statement from the Area Plan Commission that the concept of care for a, medical health care for a blood relative is a smaller structure. Yeah, that supportive of the idea of considering the variance for such as that, because it's an awful lot of expense. On the other aspect of that also, which I suggested, is that, so rather than also building a foundation, is to then ask for it to also be a pad. Because that's one of the because it's development standards, not just the the size variance. Because as anybody knows who's worked with it, is that
How
putting
long,
foundation is pretty expensive.
how long are these temporary?
We have them set up for 2 years.
2?
Yeah.
And then they have to come back
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we're still in this situation, we need to extend it.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So,
But what I can do is I can come back and provide I'll start working on putting together a list for the Plan Commission members of some of the things I think that, because of the frequency that people ask things, of, something to consider and how we might consider doing something.
okay. All right. Discussion of reformatted zoning code progress, you're still working on that, aren't you, Bill?
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean,
Anything to bring to us this month? or-
no, I think we really didn't have anything more to it, because the reason I gave all the Plan Commission members that last month was because there's so much there that give you time to really review a little here, review a little there,
Okay.
because no doubt if you're suffering from insomnia, that'd be some good stuff to read. I'm a planner and I say that.
Can we back up just a second?
Yeah, sure, Bob.
On this parking amendment you're talking about?
Yeah.
Is that going to be a flexible amendments because if somebody's wanting to do more or less, would they come here, or is there a committee they go to get approval?
Well, if they want to provide more, they can provide more. I mean, this is just
It's gonna be a
strictly,
minimum
this is
standard.
strictly minimum standard. So someone can actually go above that minimum standard if they feel it's necessary to do so.
Okay,
And then even with these reductions right there, if the state feels it's too much, then they'd have the obligation to demonstrate why it's still too much based on
We
their
don't need
particular
that
type of
much.
business. Yeah.
okay.
And then just be a matter of them
So it's
demonstrating.
gonna be a flexible thing that we just get approval to do whatever. Okay.
Yeah, because the main one is that, is knocking down the minimum to what's probably, we hope, a more reasonable standard.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's nothing else on those discussions, we'll move on to the director's report. Are there any questions or comments pertaining to it?
Motion to approve.
There's a motion for approval. Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion made and seconded to approve the director's report as presented. Any discussions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carries. Anything else that needs to be brought before us tonight?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Got a motion made and seconded for adjournment. Any discussion or questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.
Okay, Jeff.
now declare the May 25th, 2023 Board of Zoning meeting order. Please join me in a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Okay, roll call, please.
Carrie Steele, Carrie,
Simpkins, but yes.
yeah,
Please close.
Bill Crawford,
Here.
Jeff Fisher,
Here.
Darren Price,
Here.
Bill Free is absent, Bill McDaniel,
Present.
Jeff Westling,
Present.
and Beverly Rude.
All right, and we don't have any minutes, right?
No, because we didn't have a meeting.
Okay,
But we do, I did give the one with the, that showed that the, yeah, okay. You signed that. Good. All right.
okay, we have a public hearing, and the petitioner is Doreen Flannery. And the type of petition is a variance from development standards of the Connersville Fayette County Area Zoning Code to install a privacy fence within the front yard setback. You want to come up and,
Look, the backyard, not front yard.
well, because of the way the law is, that, you have two front yards.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because of,
Two road frontages.
Yeah.
oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's why, you know, it's the, like I explained it, but I know why, it's probably one of the reasons you freaked out so much when I told you what the setback was.
Yeah. That's a lot of space there, and it needs to be, like, need that change. That might come before I forget it.
Okay.
Anyway, the 25 feet is way too much. It's taking up too much of my property. I got, when I bought the property, I bought it in 2012. The bushes that I'm going to take out is going to be replaced with, is what I want to do, is put a 6-foot white vinyl privacy fence, and to update the property to make it look better. The bushes are old, and it's got trees and other kinds of with debris in it that I don't even know what's in it. But anyway, it looks disastrous. It wouldn't. My bushes is a lot higher than the about a lot taller and higher than the 6-foot fence is. So it's not going to be doing anything about taking away from people's view or anything, because my bushes is bigger than the 6-foot fence. So it actually would be, I'm just going to update it. I'm trying to keep up with the Shomels.
Yeah, Howard Schomel's been, he's been doing a lot in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
The property's
he's
been
bought
buying.
quite a few houses. Matter of fact, he's wanting to buy mine, but won't do it. But anyway, he's really done some beautiful work with repainting and doing the insides of the places. And, you know, I feel, I was telling Mr. Crawford that I was feeling very safe about the area, you know, because he's renting to a police officer, you know, on the other side of my duplex there. And then as soon as those words came out, then there was a bunch of cops came over and was across the street. I'm like, what the heck? I was quite surprised. I was shocked, but I thought I had a pretty safe area until I saw that today, so.
I have a question. Do you mind to come up here? I want to make sure I understand something. So this is one of the maps that we have, and I kind of combined two maps to make this.
Okay.
If I'm right, you're wanting to start here and build your fence like this, right?
well, I don't know, is this a building here?
Yeah, this is your house.
That'd be the
Okay.
garage.
All right. Now, I'm wanting to go closer to the curb.
From
Where
the garage,
you-
though?
From the garage, yeah.
From the garage, so you're talking about like up
See, the
here?
garage is like, I guess here is what you're saying?
No,
No.
here, let me erase
This is the garage.
Okay,
So,
See, if you can see your car's right here, this is your garage.
this is
oh,
the
yeah,
garage,
right,
okay?
okay.
Where do you want the fence to come off of there?
Well, kind of
You
like,
take this and
right
you draw
here.
it on there.
So you don't want to do this deep and then come closer. You just want to come off the garage?
I'm wanting to connect to my neighbor's fence,
Right.
go up that way, and then, go over this way, and then
Okay,
connect
so like she drew.
to
So
my
do you-
gates.
Okay, so
Have
when you,
gates.
okay, when you come back here, like where do you want it at your garage? Like when it touches when it comes to your garage, where do you want it?
My garage is going to be, my gates is going to be the back
Back
of
corner.
the garage.
Okay, so like right here.
Yeah.
That's where the gate's
But-
gonna be.
But, from there, you're going towards the,
You're going east.
Then
Yeah,
gonna
you're
go,
going east.
Then you're gonna go like this.
Right.
Presumably, so at least deep enough to get past that, whatever
Right.
that is.
yeah, I don't know what that white, oh, that's my camper. Oh, that's my camper, I forgot. Yeah, so it's going to be
So will the camper be inside or outside the fence?
outside of the fence.
Okay.
Okay. And then,
And then you'll come this way to connect with
Right.
his, and his fence is like, I don't know, let's say it's right here.
I think his is like 13 and a half feet, because I'm thinking that's what I'm asking for is 13
Yeah,
and a
it's about
half.
13 and a half feet back from the edge of the curb,
Right.
which then it's approximately,
Is that about right though?
So
Pretty
I'm,
close.
so I'm connecting.
Yeah,
there
you're
to-
connecting with this existing
Yeah,
fence.
I'm not actually connecting to it, I'm just
Gonna-
beside it. I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
so
beside
that
his
it
fence.
matches.
Yeah.
Okay.
and
But
that,
his is a chain link, and
Well,
mine's
but,
a,
Like,
yeah,
They're gonna touch, but they're not gonna be connected.
right.
so that like, I guess my thing is I wanted to make sure, part of the reason you wanted to do that is you didn't want to have his chain link fence and then take two big steps back and then have your fence.
Right.
You want the fronts to line up.
Right, because
Okay.
I don't want any dogs and,
Mm-hmm.
people in my yard, because I'm wanting to, I've got strict orders from my daughter and my granddaughter that they want blackberry bushes, strawberries, and a great
where-
harbor. And so, I've got to have
I
a
do
little
have your
more room.
address.
I have to have a little more room because I have renters that, likes to play cornhole and everything. So,
Yeah, I gotcha.
I'm wanting them to have their space and I have my space. But when you go 25 feet, you're taking
Yeah.
away from my space.
Sure, sure.
See, so that's the reason
Do
why.
you want me to bring this down here so you can see it?
I
So-
was up
I,
there.
I'm good.
Yeah, because I didn't understand the existing fence, and I wanted to double check that
Yeah.
before we. Okay.
Now, is this like right there? Is that the curb?
No, I don't really know. Those are like extra lines that are where they measure.
Okay.
Hang on, let me.
yeah,
Okay, well, anyway, I'm wanting to go 13 and a half feet from the curb
13 and a half from the curb.
instead of 25, because that's
Yeah.
just, I
Well-
know that's just, I hate to be petty about that, but
No, I
that's,
get it. I
you know,
understand.
I
From the
have,
curb, but not from the property line, correct? You're asking for 13 and a half feet from the curb,
Curb.
and not the property line.
which then places that, because it's between 9 and 10 feet to the property line, so it's going to be about another 3.5 feet inside the property line.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to reflect that. So the
Yeah.
way the way the zoning code is written doesn't really, it's not user friendly to folks like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and so like, it's like a different language. And so one of the things that in whatever motion, basically you're proposing it to be 3.5 feet from your property line, which is the same thing as saying 13 and a half from the curb.
yeah,
So that way, if you hear 3.5, or, it's the same thing.
okay,
Just
That
to kind
doesn't
of help.
mean
a
Go put your fence right up on the curb.
Yes, exactly.
okay, okay.
So, yep, I just wanted to double check. So
Yeah, so that's my whole purpose of everything.
That's what I didn't know
And-
if you could tell that from the drawing. That's part of the reason I wanted to ask.
No, I couldn't.
Okay.
When I was
This is what you're taking out, isn't it? This bushes?
Let me see the picture.
Yeah.
See, that's my neighbor's house right there. But see, that's a honeysuckle and a lilac bush right there. And then I've got this whole row of bushes with a couple trees in there.
So you just want to take that out and put
I
a
want to
fence
take
in?
it all out.
Yeah, I don't
Take
want
it all out. I want to update it and make it look nice. And I'm trying to, like I said, keep up with my house. And
So is,
keep up with the shambles.
is this them bushes and stuff right here?
No, it's over here.
It's over here.
It's
So
on the
it's
street
this
side.
right here, okay.
It's on Virginia Avenue
Yeah.
side.
Okay.
So part of the problem with it, Jeff, is it's a duplex, but there's an entrance here and an entrance here.
Sure.
And so it made two front setbacks.
Right.
And that's why that would have been a side yard, it probably would have been easier, but if the street wasn't here.
Right.
So Bill, so we have the neighbor's fence is at 13 feet.
Well, yeah, because the neighbor's fence is tying on to the neighbor's fence. It's that's back that's about 3.5 feet back from where Mrs. Flannery's property line meets up with the neighbor. So that's about 3.5 feet back from there approximately.
Okay.
So
And, and that house,
Yeah.
that would be a front yard fence?
Yep.
Okay.
So is it a legal non-conforming use or did they just not ask? I don't know, I don't care, I'm not seeking,
I'm sure they didn't ask.
I would assume.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for it.
Well, a lot of things
put
because
their
actually
fence
there's a
in
lot of
years
the
ago.
houses out there.
Next door.
A lot of the development in there
Yeah.
preceded the zoning code anyway with Mr. Wilmore's development.
Yeah, I agree. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't,
Yeah.
if it was.
Because a lot of these things, pretty much everything that we're seeing, just as I explained about the houses along, just across the street on 35th Street, they look like they're right on the property line, and that's all legal non-conforming use. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that particular fence wasn't
Yeah.
stuck in somebody's crawl before we.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not at an intersection where it's
No.
on blocking it.
Exactly. And it's already, the view is already blocked, even if it,
Right.
She's
To a
going to
certain
actually
degree.
help it by taking all
I
that
agree.
mess down.
Yeah.
Right,
agree.
Yeah,
exactly.
and that's the reason also with that photograph, because it's also the street that it's on, because it's four-way stop. And then because then with the right turn, because since the traffic's gone away from Mrs. Flannery's, you wouldn't have as much of a potential as if it was on the other side.
okay.
And you stated in some of the information you sent us that we probably need to make the motion with a particular reason why it's.
Yeah, you would need to write within the motion of why that the strict interpretation is basically bogus in this setting because of it's such an old preconditioned use that when you look at the other houses, the other structures right in the immediate area, that it doesn't fit slapping this zoning district on those.
Right.
With those setbacks. Because those numbers, they ignore basically the facts on the ground, the reality.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, Mr. Crawford, for telling me about that number and everything, and I called it today, and they're coming to stay at 3:30.
The locate,
Oh, yeah, 811.
but they were
yeah.
gonna pull the bushes out, and I said, you don't know what's under there, you probably better call and have
Right.
them locate it, and it's
And
free.
see, I didn't even think about that, and I didn't.
A lot of
and I-
people don't,
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that to my attention.
no problem.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like those houses on 4th Street where the garage is for the senior center. Well, they didn't do the locate, so when they started demoing, pulled up water lines and damaged the actual water lines.
That's what I was telling her about,
Oh,
some of
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
You ready for a motion?
Yep.
close to public hearing.
Want to close the public hearing on the petition from Doreen Flannery. Now, some discussion? No discussion? All right, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the variance for the fence for Miss Flannery. And I hope that you're ready, because I'll make notes if you would like to use it later. My motion
Just
is,
listen to it.
yeah, let's do it later. Okay, so I move that we approve it, and I'm gonna go ahead and go through the findings of fact one by one and why I believe that it meets it.
Okay.
And then we'll make a vote on that. So quickly, number one, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. I believe that this variance meets that condition, that particular finding, because it's not jeopardizing anything. It's actually just replacing an existing shrubbery.
Mess.
Number two, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. It will not affect the property included or area in any way, let alone adverse, because there's already a screen there and there's already a fence at the neighbor's property that she will match up with. Number three, strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty in the use of the property. I believe that the application meets this finding because if she moves it back 25 feet from her property line, it's essentially like in the middle of her yard. So the strict application of the zoning code would not allow her to have a privacy fence and a yard at the same time. Number four, there are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applicable to the property or to the intended use that do not apply generally to other property or class of use in the same vicinity and district. I believe that this variance is exceptional or extraordinary because the fact that it was platted in what was it, World War II, and that even though there are, the area in general has a similar situation, meaning their houses are close to the property line and there's the right-of-way, this particular situation is extraordinary because there's already an existing shrub line that creates this visual barrier, and because it is unique that there's an existing fence that she can line up with, and that's unique to this particular property. Number five, such variances are necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right possessed by the property in the same vicinity and district, but which is denied to the property in question. Just like I mentioned before, there's a shrubbery screen there. The house next door has a fence that allows them to have their yard fenced off, and so she deserves the same right. Number six, granting of such a variance will not alter the land use characteristics in the vicinity of the district or increase the congestion in the streets. It will not do either. Again, it's a similar fence, to similar houses in the area, and it does not and doesn't impact traffic in any way. That is my motion.
I will second that motion.
You want to repeat it?
No.
Do you even think you could?
I think I could come pretty close.
Okay, we have a motion made on the petition and seconded. I'm going to do a roll call vote, please. All
Carrie?
those in favor?
Roll call? Sorry,
Oh,
so-
roll call, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so me.
Carrie?
Yeah. Yes.
Crawford?
Yes.
Jeff Fisher?
Yes.
Darren Price?
All righty. All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Okay, looks like,
You're approved.
Now, thank you. Now, do I get paperwork for this?
What I will do is I prepare a letter that tells you what happened right here, that it was approved. So I'll prepare that and then I'll send it to you in the mail.
Okay, great. Great. Thank you very much.
all right, director's report.
I'll make a motion to approve the director's report.
Second.
All right, motion made to accept the director's report as reported. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next motion would be for number 6, which is adjournment.
Oh, I'm going to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Adjourned.
I was surprised.
Carrie, thank you.